Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jake Line Connect here, and assistant coach Mike Hill joining us. Coach Hill, I appreciate you coming on once again, as Coach Langer's back with his family down in Sioux Falls. A big weekend in the wilderness, or at the wilderness, I guess. Kind of both. Kind of in the wilderness, too.
Yeah, it's out there.
3-2 shootout win on Friday night. Some huge saves made by Seibel, particularly I felt like in the overtime. He came up with some really big saves at key times. But a pretty tightly contested game where you guys are up 2-1. They come back and tie it up 2-2 with a minute 38 left. Is that right? Towards the end, it's like a minute 30.
Around there.
Right around there left of the third period. And it goes to overtime. No scoring, no penalties into the shootout. And Schneid's able to get the Wings a win, along with, as I mentioned, some great saves from Seibel. What were your guys' thoughts on Friday's game? I know I talked to Coach Langer a little bit on the bus prior to Saturday's game about Friday's matchup and about the game plan that you guys put together about slowing down their rush, not giving them a lot of chances, because that was a way that they were scoring a lot of goals lately. Seemed like you guys were pretty effective at that. What were your thoughts?
I think Saturday we got better at that. But I was just doing some simple numbers on it. We had 9 line rushes against, and that's a pretty high number. Anywhere like in a normal game, that's odd man rushes, but not necessarily line rushes. But 9 odd man rushes against and 12-4 in Friday nights. And that's just a big back and forth game. If you kind of just look at how many times they're going down the ice and we're going up the ice, and stuff like that. So I mean, that second game on Saturday, I think we slowed that part of their game down. And that was, I think, really kind of helped us kind of get some momentum, because they weren't really getting up the ice the way that, Wilderness usually does. And, but yeah, I mean, in the first game, it's kind of like line rush city all game, seemed like.
And do you think that the bigger sheet has something to do with that? Just to create a little more space, gives an opportunity for there to be more rushes and odd man rushes and line rushes?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's as long as if you're playing inside the dots, it's still the same game. But like with outside the dots there, you got an extra 10, 15 feet or whatever width it is, and that big surface is a lot of ice to cover. So going up and down the ice and able to really get on that outside, I think plays a big factor of that as well.
I noticed during the overtime, it kind of cracked me up to see 3-on-3, and on the big sheet, it almost felt like we're watching Pee Wee's players. So, you know what I mean? How they look on the big sheet with them, and with only having 3 guys out for each team. There's a lot of space up there for sure. No scoring going on in the overtime period, and then it goes to the shootout. There's only the second time that the Wings have and it's actually been with the Wilderness. What your thought process, coach's thought process? I know I've talked with Coach Langer before about picking guys for the shootout, and how oftentimes it's a gut feeling. Do you ever have any input? You're looking at him like, I gotta, he's gonna.
Yeah, I mean, it's a quick conversation with him and I once the buzzer goes, so we make sure that we have our first 2 ready, and then that third guy is about to step up the play if the first 2 don't complete it. So we're always kind of, you do it one at a time. And it's something that we practice every week too, just for fun, and have some shootout competition or whatnot. And so we get a good feel from that as well. And so kind of part of it is how the players played and what order. Like we went for Matsui as the first one. He had both goals. I think that was still the right choice, even if he didn't score. Like, he's a kid that is, finding the back of the net a lot.
On to Saturday night. Do you think that, and I mentioned this to Coach Langer again in the pregame, that having the guys being able to play on Friday night and because it was the first time for some of them that have played in Cloquet, did it help at all going into Saturday to have that night behind them, so they kind of knew what to expect and so on, as far as the sheet, the surface, the building, all of that? And then we'll dive into Saturday here too, and the game plan, as you mentioned, slowed the rush down and so on. But it just got me thinking a little bit, I guess, about how going in, not having those questions, and kind of being able to get a little bit more of a feel, knowing what the rink was going to be like.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps that Saturday. I think for some reason, like our Saturday games it's been pretty strong on the road as well.
And it needs to be because
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah, you need to try to finish off whether you lose that night before or win it. You know, you just got to make sure that you finish the right way. And so it's if there are jitters in that Friday night game, they probably shake off in the Saturday night. You know.
Well, Saturday ends up being a 6-2 win. They got a late power play goal to make it 6-2. It was 6-1 up until that 3-minute mark, roughly, on Saturday night. But there was a big moment in the final seconds of the first period with Stender with a big hit, and it seemed like that really kind of changed the tone. Let me get those words right.
Yeah.
But changed the tone for the rest of the game, and it kind of seemed like the rest of the night, the Wilderness were more concerned about being physical and
I mean,
settling
like
the score.
Like you look at something like that, if a player's going to go in and just put his shoulder down, hit you right shoulder to chest, and you're going to get upset about it. I mean, you know, I don't think you're looking at the game the right way. Like I look back at Minot, we had Virtus took a really hard hit, you know, and he took it and he kind of skated into it, and the guy's shoulder kind of finished at Virtus' head. The guy was 6 inches taller than Virtus. Like at the end of the day, that's a clean hit, but I'm not going to be going, you know, yelling at the guy at the ref about a dirty hit when if you don't know what a clean hit is, even against your own team, then you know, you probably need to reevaluate and just watch some hitting videos on YouTube or something. And that right there was a big momentum for us because, you know, Stendy ends up getting jumped like 2 or 3 times in the game. And I think the focus went from, playing hockey, drifted. And if, you know, if you're going to go into that and we got a team that can make plays and skate like the wind and go ahead and play like that because, you know, we're just going to make plays around you. And off of Stendy's great hit, you know, right into crunch the kid. You know, I hope he's doing okay. I hope he wasn't injured seriously. But it's a game. It's a physical game. Yeah. It happens. Like, you know, I played the game too, and I was taken out for seasons at a time because of dirty hits. Like, you know, there's got to be accountability, and you know, when there's clean hits, you see a clean hit. Yeah. You know, there's going to be dirty hits. There's going to be clean hits, but it's something that is going to be controlled. And for us, our guys just started, you know, or didn't start. We just kept playing the game and found the back of the net over and over. You know, Virtus drives it on the 4-on-4 from that. You know, right after that in the second period, and then boom, we get a power play goal there, too. And then shortly after that, trying to think who got that fifth one. I think it was Matsui.
Matsui had 2 in the game, and Virtus with the hat trick.
Yeah, so Virtus ended up getting the hat trick on him. The Manti shot hits off Virtus' pants or something, goes in the net. You know, Virtus is doing the right things too. You see all his goals were right on top of the crease. Yep. He's learned a thing or two in last week, I guess, too.
But it's interesting that you say that, because honestly, even in the broadcast, I was saying, you know, in between periods and so on, I said it's a contact sport. You see it in football, you see it in hockey, you know, and that's why they say things like, you know, keep your head on a swivel, keep your eyes up, because there are going to be some big hits sometimes. And when there is a big hit, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's illegal. Yeah. So to have people, you know, I heard quite a few of them in the stands, you know, yelling at the ref, to, you know, that they felt like a call should have been made, and I'm going, it was down and to my left, I saw it, but you know, it was against the boards. But it sure
I think
seemed
too,
clean.
like there's hits on both sides that were both like good hits. Yeah. Like they were hitting us pretty good. They got real physical too, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Right. Just and of course like you got to kind of see it as a two-sided street too. It's not going to be all. Obviously, you're always looking at your team to be good, and anything that happens bad to your team, you're going to blame something, or it's it's against you kind of thing. But like really. Like, well,
and frankly, a lot of my reaction comes from the fans that I could hear that were near me and stuff.
Yeah, because they're hollering, throwing beer cans on the ice. Like,
well, and you can't blame them because fans. The word fan comes from fanatic, and that is they love their team, and they're going to be pretty passionate about it. So I certainly can't blame them. I know our fans have gotten pretty upset at different things at times as well. And like I said, just an emotional game Saturday night in a lot of ways for a lot of people. But the Wings end up with another win. 6-2 was the final there, and Why don't you talk a little bit about the power play and the penalty kill? I know, again, I mentioned a late goal on a 5-on-3 for them, but otherwise the kill was perfect over the course of the weekend, and power play came up with one goal there on Saturday. How'd you feel about the way the specialty teams performed?
I think on the big ice for the power play, I don't think the guys knew exactly what to do. You know, they still, they went 1 for 3 on Saturday, and went 0 for 3 on the Friday, and I think they just weren't doing the things that they normally do, and I think there's so much space. Like, they felt like they had so much space,
right.
And there's a lot
lost.
So I think getting back at home this weekend will be fun to just get back onto the normal work week and work to get better at that too. And the kill was great. They scored on a 5-3. I think that's probably our first 5-on-3 goal against, though. We've been pretty solid on 5-3. You guys have been, but a little miscommunication there on the over to kind of protect the guy who gets a shot through. But yeah, I mean, special teams was, I thought, still pretty big on the weekend.
Yeah. Well, when you have the best kill in the league and the best power play in the league, that's saying something, and you wouldn't probably expect a whole lot of anything else.
Yeah.
Wilderness come into the Odie this weekend. As you talked about, nice to be at home. It's been a lot of games on the road lately, but regular week of preparation. You see, and you and I have talked about this before, of seeing the same team over and over and over again, and then especially after a Saturday night game. I know Coach Langer mentioned that it's important to have a short memory after a game like that, and then facing that team again. How much of a challenge does that become?
Like playing the same teams over. I think this is our third bout of having something like this with, I think we did with Austin, St. Cloud, now with Wilderness. I mean, the good thing is it's a different type of preparation, where if the things that we're looking at isn't, it's a lot more focused on what we were doing in that weekend rather than what the other team is doing.
Sure.
So that's what happens when you start to play the same team over and over. You're kind of looking at where do we need to get better at, rather than looking at how to stop that team. Because if you're going to be lining up the same guys again and same team or whatever, that's kind of the way that my mentality is to coach the guys throughout the week. And so I think from a teaching standpoint for us and for what our guys need to do, it's a little different though, Okay. So rather than getting used to a new opponent, same opponent, just what do we need to do better against them?
Refine and hone a bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the teddy bear toss is coming up on Saturday night. I'll have all the details on that in just a little bit. That's always a fun one. I got to ask you, who do you think it's going to be that's going to make it rain teddy bears?
That's on Saturday?
Yep.
Oh, man. I don't have any favorites in the locker room, so I just,
No gut feeling about who it's going to be?
No.
Right.
But, Russell needs to get one.
Yeah, that would be, how perfect would that be? All right. Well, Coach Hill, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
And as always, best of luck coming up against the Wilderness. And again, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. We'll continue on with the second portion of Wings Weekly with a player coming up after this.
Your bird dog deserves a great hunt.
Let's go. Let's hunt some birds.
So do you. This season, hunt in Aberdeen, South Dakota, America's premier pheasant hunting destination. Experience the flush. Experience the rush of wild birds in wild places. Create your hunt of a lifetime this season in Aberdeen, South Dakota.
We continue on with the second portion of Wings Weekly, and as usual, a player joining me, and this time it's Marshall Walker of Sheboygan, Wisconsin. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm not bad, not bad. I'm glad you had some time to come on the show with us. It's always nice for fans to be able to get a look at you guys away from the ice a little bit and get a chance to get to know you a little bit. I always ask everybody about their journey to Aberdeen and to becoming a wing. But you actually had spent some time in the USHL, in the North American League with Jamestown and the NCDC too. So you're no newbie, I should say, to junior hockey by any any means. How did you get started in hockey as a whole, and walk us through kind of that progression through those other teams and what brought you here to Aberdeen?
Well, I started when I was 3 years old, and parents brought me to learn to skate. And at first I wouldn't let go of the cone, and I never thought I was going to let go of the cone. So finally let go and started playing, and I just loved it ever since.
Yeah.
I've been playing. It's been a long time, but it's.
So from there, you go through the local developmental program or whatever. Each year you progress and so on. What made you decide to take that step into juniors?
I was playing high school back home, and I just, Wisconsin high school hockey. I mean, it's good hockey, but trying to advance your hockey career, it's probably not ideal.
Right.
So I wanted to go, and I still wanted to keep playing hockey, so I decided to go the AAA route and play in Milwaukee.
Excellent.
And I did that and got lucky enough to be drafted the next year to Lincoln. So.
I spent a season with the Stars in the USHL, and then on to Jamestown. So then, at what point how do you become a wing?
So actually, once I started playing for Milwaukee, I think it was about three or 4 years ago now.
Okay.
At the end of the season, my interview, they're like, "Hey, the Aberdeen Wings would like you to come out and practice with the team." So I came out and during my spring break and practiced with the team.
Last year?
This was about 3 years ago.
Oh, wow,
This was
okay.
The year before they won the championship.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I came out, practiced with the team, talked with coach, and I loved it. So that year ended up making Lincoln, so I didn't have the opportunity to come here. But it's been a long time coming to get here. But now that I'm here, I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you. That's interesting. I didn't realize that. I know they often will bring guys in to kind of get a feel for things and so on, but I didn't know that you had been here prior to the USHL. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What were your impressions then and then now of Aberdeen?
I didn't really think that there was much to do here, but now that I'm here, once you learn the town a little bit and you get to see things, you find things to do, and obviously hanging out with teammates a lot. And but from the practices, I knew they were going to be hard from the start, and I knew I would be coming into a place with a very good coach, and just a lot of high quality players, and practice is going to be tough, and it's just high skill level, and everything that I was really looking for in a team.
The structure, the family atmosphere, all of that stuff.
Everything, yeah.
Excellent. I always laugh, actually, because what other teams think when they come in, because it's so flat here that you don't see that there's lights and that there's buildings and stuff. So like if they were to come in from Bismarck or Minot, and they're a player that's the first time coming here, they come in the back of the Odie and they see a beef barn and everything else is just flat. They're like, is there a town here or what?
Yeah.
So that kind of cracks me up to think of what people's impressions first are. And then, like you said, I suppose once you spend some time here, you realize there actually are things to do.
Yeah.
Speaking of things to do you have any hobbies or anything? How do you spend your time away from the rink?
Usually hanging out with a lot of the guys on the team, obviously. I love racing. It's kind of my second love.
What kind of racing?
Dirt track racing.
Really?
So it's nice that we got the dirt track here right behind the rink. So once that gets going, I'll definitely be going to a lot of the races. But my dad used to race quite a few years ago, and helps work on cars. So I just one of my best friends has a car that I help work on in the summers. And
very cool.
Just something I've always loved to do. So it's kind of like my second love other than hockey. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Guy by my own heart. I've been with the track announcer at Brown County Speedway for about 18 years. So I've been very immersed in that sport for a long, long time, and
it's very cool.
Yeah, I've been a fan ever since I was a little kid too. So even though their season starts May 14th, and we are not even done yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm probably after some of the Friday night games, I'll have to head over there and try to catch some of the last races of the night. So.
Some of the features, yeah, and there'll be some testing tunes and stuff coming up that you can go out and check out. Some guys during the day too.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Very cool. All right. Couple of quick things. How about game day preparation? Anything? What's your game day look like? You have a routine, kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I usually I make my own meal. Usually chicken Alfredo. Usually make that, and then take about 2-3 hour nap. I like to sleep a lot before games.
Nice.
So, yeah, shower and make a smoothie and get ready for the game. So.
Okay. Any superstitions that you have? I know there's some guys that have to do things a certain way or whatever.
There's some guys who have some crazy superstitions. I feel like as a team we have our own superstitions, things that we do before games. Me personally, I don't really have any superstitions. I just like to stick to a routine.
Sure.
So it helps me get ready for the game.
Ye actually last week had a very good point about superstitions and how you can almost become a victim of them if they don't go the way, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you have something that's going to mess you up, you get in your own head. And I got to thinking about it as he was saying that, I was like, that is very true. That if you don't, if things don't go exactly the way you want, then it's ruined it for you.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, a couple of quick, goofy kind of questions here before we start talking about the Wilderness and the weekend to come. Would you rather be famous when you're alive but forgotten when you die, or unknown when you're alive, basically unknown anyway, when you're alive, and then famous and never forgotten after you've passed?
I probably would take famous after death, because, it'd be pretty cool to have a legacy.
Yeah.
So I feel like that'd be really cool. Sometimes if your work while you're here, is like not known, and then after you're gone, it's known. I feel like you have a longer impact than you would.
Yeah. That's a very good point. I'm glad you used the word legacy. I liked that, because as I was writing that question out, I thought to myself, it is all about the legacy, and for family members to come for generations, that they would know that all these great things you did or whatever, versus only being able to enjoy it yourself. So that's very cool. Another one here. Would you rather be able to, and this is even weirder, would you rather be able to control all animals with your mind, except humans? You can't control humans. Okay. Yeah, control all animals with your mind, or all electronics with your mind?
I would probably do animals. Yeah. Because my dog at my billet house likes to run away from time to time, so it'd be nice to have him come back so I don't got to chase him around the yard. But I feel like that'd be cool,
Very. I got to thinking when I wrote this question out, somehow I had an army of blenders in my mind where they're like waddling down the street doing your bidding. And I was like, yeah, this is a strange question. But yeah, animals would be very cool. And a lot more helpful than a blender. That is for sure. All right. Up next, Minnesota Wilderness. We talked with Coach Hill just a little while ago about about playing the same team over and over again, and like we talked about, things got a little heated obviously Saturday night after a hit, and they obviously didn't like it much. You got to believe that, like Coach Langer said, short memory for players. Mm-hmm. But how hard is that as a player? You kind of are you able to go into the weekend and say, all right, clean slate? Or do you kind of have some memories that you're...
Me personally, I feel like I do a pretty good job at just kind of having a short memory and just going into the game just worried about us.
Yeah.
We can't be going into a game worried about the other team or what they're going to do and if they're going to try to intimidate us or anything. So we just have to worry about ourselves in here and just worry about our job, because our job's winning games and going into the playoffs and doing well, so we can't be worried about a team who's just trying to bully us around and do that kind of stuff. So
excellent, a very mature and responsible answer. I'm impressed by these guys all the time. That was very good. Honestly, Marshall, I think that's about all I've got for you. I appreciate you coming on, though. And we've got the Teddy Bear Toss coming up this weekend. It's always, every year, big event. Fans love it. They bring a bunch of teddy bears, and sometimes they're really, really big ones, and sometimes they're little or whatever. Yep. It can be stuffed animals of any kind. And when the goal is scored, everyone makes them rain. Who do you think is going to be the one to make it rain?
Like Coach said before, it'd be nice to see Russell get one.
Yeah.
He's been so close all year. I really think it's coming soon. I'm gonna go with Russell for my pick.
Nice.
So.
Very fitting if it would be poetic justice if he would be the one to get that goal. That would be awesome. All right, well, as I mentioned, the Teddy Bear Toss is coming up. Friday night, Minnesota Wilderness here at the ODI Center, Aberdeen Hockey Night. Girls varsity and junior varsity recognition at the first intermission. Dakota Broadcasting is the corporate sponsor, and player autographs after the game. Saturday, April 3rd versus the Minnesota Wilderness. As I mentioned, Yildiz Shrine Teddy Bear Toss Night. Bring a stuffed animal to throw onto the ice after the Wings scored their first goal. Stuffed animals will be donated to local charities. Post-game party with the Wings and at Buffalo Wings and Rings after the game. Important other upcoming dates: fan bus trip to St. Cloud, April 10th. Email mrosendahl@aberdeenwings.com for more information or to get signed up. Season ticket appreciation night is April 16th. Parents weekend is May 14th and 15th. Awards banquet is May 16th. More information on that coming soon. Corporate night sponsorships are still available for home games throughout the 2020-2021 season and playoffs. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. Don't forget, Wings Weekly is now a podcast. Find the audio for this season's episode on Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit aberdeenwings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Doors open at 5:30 and the puck always drops at 7:15. Get your tickets now at tickets.aberdeenwings.com. $10 general admission tickets are also on sale now at any of the 4 Sea Express locations in Aberdeen with additional purchase. Marshall, thanks for standing by while I read that book. A lot of information to pass along.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on, and best of luck against the Wilderness.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. All right, folks, that'll wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.